Brian from toofab here. Today we are talking to Angela Oakenfold. She's one of the owners for the so-called Murder House from American Horror Story, which is opening its doors to the public for the first time this weekend for Halloween. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Me.
Now, I guess for a little backstory, I know you purchased the house in what year was it? 2014?
2015.
2015, and didn't realize at the time that it had actually been featured on American Horror Story. So what was it that initially attracted you to the house?
Well, I kind of Googled it and I saw that, I was looking for pictures and stuff of it. We came to the first viewing and then I Googled it and I saw some of the pictures online. But at the time I'd never seen American Horror Story, so it didn't really mean much to me. And, they said that stuff had been filmed here. So I was like, okay, cool. But myself and my husband had just got engaged and I didn't want to have kids, but he'd convinced me. So this was the first house that we went to see. We decided to buy a family home together, and it was the first time that we were going to live together. And then we came to see this house and I was just like, wow, this is like a dream house. I'd never seen a house like it before. It was just stunning.
I mean, we can see some of it behind you right now, and having watched the show myself, yes, it is a gorgeous home. So I can see the attraction. And now for you, I mean, how soon after you moved in did you start to notice things might be a little off, I guess we can say?
Yeah, I guess we could say even before we moved in. The seller we closed escrow, the seller had moved out and there was someone that was still living here. So we were waiting for him to leave. Months were going by and then eventually we got an email saying, I've moved all my staff out. I'm going to be gone by May 1st. The only thing that will be left are the ghosts.
Great.
And that's a weird email. And I said to my husband, do you think that he was joking? Oh yeah, he was joking. He was a bit odd. So I was like, okay. So then I had my own house, my husband had his own place, and we just left our furniture because I was just going to lease my place out short term. So we didn't have much in the house. So we went to IKEA, we got a mattress and a bed, and we just had nothing else in the house on our first night. And it was really sweet and it was cute. And we were all excited until about 1 o'clock in the morning when we both just jumped out of bed. There was this huge banging in the room below us. It was almost as if the ceiling had just fallen in, and then there was this really strange like dragging noise, and it was so loud. It just woke us both up instantly, and we were looking at each other. What was it? What is it? It's so strange the first night always that you're in a new home. And then we were sitting there, and about 4 or 5 minutes later, exactly the same thing happened again. So I said to my husband, if it happens a third time, I'm going to call the cops. He was like, I'm going to go down and check. I was like, don't be silly. It's like one of those strange movies where like there's a noise in the basement and the girl goes down on her own.
Right. Like, don't be that guy.
and so it happened again about 5 minutes later. We called the cops. There were helicopters here. Cops came in, went through the entire house. They couldn't find anything. They said all the doors and windows were closed and locked. So we were just sort of scratching our heads, just thinking, okay, we don't know what it was and there's nothing we can do about it, but no one was in the house and we're safe. So I went about getting an alarm system installed, and I had people coming in to do the internet and the alarm, and everything was in the basement, all the electrical panels that they were going down and wiring everything up to. And one by one, they would come back up. I can't work down there. I can't stay down there. Something touched me. There's a strange feeling down there. One guy came running up and he was like, it's evil down there. I can't work. And I was like, come on, I just want like an alarm and I want like cable TV. What's the deal? And so I said to my husband, I can't get anything done in the house. There's something weird going on in the basement and I really don't want to go down there and check it out. I'm not going to go on my own. And he said, well, actually, I was down there on my own and there is something strange. He said, something tapped me on the shoulder and then it just floated in front of me. He said, it wasn't like anything evil. It was just like a shadow, like a mist. And he said, it was a female. And after about 5 seconds, it just sort of evaporated. And I was like, but he's a doctor. He's like very scientific about everything. He doesn't believe in ghosts or any of that stuff. But he said, I don't know what it was, but I know that it was. And then after that, it was just pretty much like day-to-day stuff happening, someone marching around the house. with really heavy boots on, a female on the very top floor, very young sounding girl, just crying like in grief. My friend saw an apparition of a butler walking up and down the staircase, and then the lady that had lived here, her daughter, said, "Oh yeah, it is haunted. Nothing nasty, but there's like a butler that walks up and down the staircase." So I was having like different people seeing the same sort of apparitions, and I'm kind of
Yeah.
walking around the house like,
Who's
you
gonna
know,
pop out this time?
yeah, you want to see it as well, because I was hearing things and sensing things, but I haven't actually physically seen anything yet. But other people.
Okay. And now, are you guys still living in the house? I know the press release we got said you fled. So are you living there, or are you not? Are you trying to maybe sell it, or where do you guys stand now, I guess, with the property?
Yeah, no, we don't want to sell it. We love the house. You know, I've just had twins, and we've got a 3-year-old. We've got twin boys. So when my toddler was sort of like looking up at things and like babbling away and talking to things that were invisible, I was like, maybe this isn't the best environment for very young babies. So yeah, we're not here full time, but you know, we love it here. This is our dream home. It still is, even with the ghosts and even with people breaking in trying to get into the house. Is like
Right,
we just
that's a
love
whole
it.
other side of it too, right? That must come with the American Horror Story allure of it. I think it's probably more of a target for that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, I think people are curious. They want to see inside, you know, and the fans that take pictures, you know, they're all really sweet and polite. There's just a tiny number that have like an obsession with the
Mm.
occult, the satanic stuff. So we had like a satanic ritual that someone did in the front garden, and I woke up and there was like a hole that had been burnt and there was all stuff in it. And
Oh.
yeah, or people trying to break in, or people like climbing over the fence or cutting through the fence. And I understand, you know, the fence is ugly. We had to put it up just as an emergency. You know, we're going to put a really nice fence in eventually. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Now, did you guys do any sort of maybe investigation into what or who some of these ghosts might be? Like what the history of the house was before the previous owner, and who has lived there?
yeah. So there was an elderly lady, Greta. She lived here for 30 years. Then
Okay.
it was nuns, yeah, for about 50 years. They built a chapel on the side of the house. Then there was the owner that built it for himself and his wife. He fled. And then there was someone that, a wealthy guy that bought the house, and then he rented it out to different actors and celebrities in the 1920s and 30s. And then we don't know why, he just donated it to the Catholic Church. So maybe he just felt that there was some vibe and he just thought it would be better in the hands of the church. I know that they did an exorcism here, but I know that it didn't work, but they did carry out one.
Do you know when that happened? Was it when
That was
the nuns were there, or
Yeah,
yeah.
that's just like what they do, you know, when they turn a property
Mm.
that's been, you know, private home into a convent, you know, the priest comes in and he does it with his juju and like cleans it all up. But I do have like an energy healer who's a friend of mine that I've worked with for years, and he clears houses. And I spoke to him about what was happening in the house, and I just said, the thing is, Satish, I don't really feel like anything is trying to kill us or like
Yeah.
do us harm. In fact, you know, we moved in and I got pregnant and we've been trying, and then work was going good, you know, everything in life, we were happy, and I didn't feel like that there was a need to cleanse it. I almost felt like it was, whatever was here was like almost like a nun energy that was being supported.
Mm.
But that's just what we've sensed. Other people have like come into the house and just like run. They're just like gone. I think
So
it
no
freaks
no
out.
rubber man for you, but
Not yet,
and
anyway.
now, can you, I guess, talk a little bit about what is going to be going on this weekend, and why you did decide to actually open it up now?
Yeah, we decided, well, it'd been a rough year, horrible year, and we wanted to do something that we could donate some money to charity from. You know, the house for the most part has been empty, and that
Hmm.
didn't feel good. And we thought maybe if the fans get to see a little bit of what the house looks like on the inside, you know, maybe they might not want to break in. You know, we just thought maybe it's time just to accept the situation a little bit and open the doors up and see if we can raise some money for charity. So that was the goal behind it all. But it's been really hard work pulling it all together. So I've been doing it on my own. So I've had like my twin boys, and I'm like trying to do emails and stuff.
Do you have any advice for the ticket holders who are going to end up staying the night? Should they run into anything?
Gosh, what would my advice be for them? Just like bring like a protective crystal or something, or like a cross or some kind of religious thing, just to sort of like ward anything off. Because we filmed like a little trailer here, and then the sound man was meant to come back for this live stream to catch all of our audio, and the director said he won't come back. The last time he was here, when he went home, he brought something with him. I was like, what do you mean brought something with him? He was like, he went to bed that night and there was something on the end of his bed and he couldn't get it to move out of his bedroom. So his friend came over with his dog, and then the dog started going berserk, barking at this thing. And then they had to go and get some sage and like clear out the apartment. So he doesn't want to come back. So hopefully nothing like that happens to any of our overnight. I don't know why anyone would want to do it. I really don't, but good luck.
And last question for you, but I know when you guys moved in, obviously it was much to get used to with the American Horror Story connection. You know, how has that changed, that relationship changed over time? I know they've been back to film since then. Obviously, I think there were 2 seasons where they've done more murder house scenes. So how has your relationship with the show changed over time?
With the show, I mean, they called up and they approached us and they were like, well, the fan situation is there. It's not going to go away. And I was like, okay. And they were like, it's just for a couple of days. I was like, okay. And they were like, and Lady Gaga's coming. And I was like, oh, yes, done. I'm sold. So they just came for a couple of days. And then they came back and they did like a whole episode here. And they approached us and said, we're going to shoot this episode. We can shoot it on a soundstage. And we've got exterior shots of the house from season 1, or we can come and shoot in the house. You know, it's up to you. The fans are going to think that we've been at the house anyway. So again, it was like, okay, well, we let them come back. And, you know, with the fans at the beginning, it was shocking. It wasn't so, but it wasn't so much the fans. It was the fact that the realtor didn't tell us. Like he knew we wanted to have kids, you know, and he should have said, guys, this maybe isn't the best place. You know,
right. It's an attraction.
He didn't say there's going to be up to 200 people coming here every day. They're going to try to break in. You know, they're going to do this, that, and the other. That was what we were mad about, not the fans. Of course, they're going to want to come and see the house. I mean, it's beautiful, and you know, I've seen some clips and snippets of the show, and it looks great. You know, why wouldn't you? So no, nothing against the fans. You know, they're all so sweet and they're very polite and kind.
Nice. That's what we want to hear. And I think they're going to be very happy with this weekend's events.
I hope so. I really do. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. I am excited to see some of this myself. And thanks for opening up the home.
All right, great.